What's going on, guys? The Comics Kid 2099 here to talk to you about Star Wars: The Destiny Path. This is a 6-issue storyline from a new Star Wars series by Charles Soule, Jesus Saiz, Arif Prianto, and Rachel Rosenberg. This series is set in between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. In fact, a couple of these issues take place in between some scenes in The Empire Strikes Back. This starts seconds after Leia, Chewie, and Lando rescue Luke from the bottom of Cloud City. So we get a couple of issues where Luke doesn't even have his prosthetic hand yet, and then we skip over that scene at the end of Empire where they're putting the prosthetic hand on him, and then we get a couple more adventures here. And I said, I think it was last year when I talked about the Star Wars series by Jason Aaron and John Cassaday, that I wasn't too interested in the time in between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. I thought those stories were fine, but they didn't really do anything for me. Whenever I watched Star Wars, I wasn't thinking, hey, wouldn't it be cool if Luke went back to Tatooine and rifled through Obi-Wan's old stuff and was looking for Obi-Wan's journal. I wasn't really thinking of all the stuff that happens in between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. This book grabbed me much more than that did. And I don't want to throw the creative team who did that Star Wars series under the bus. I think they were just saddled with a point in the Star Wars timeline that I personally am just not that interested in. After A New Hope, I am perfectly willing to say, okay, and then a couple years happen, and then we get The Empire Strikes Back. I don't really need to know every single thing that happens to Han, Luke, and Leia in between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. But Empire Strikes Back ends with a gigantic bombshell dropped on Luke and the audience. And I am much more interested in seeing how Luke gets from just being devastated to find out that his dad is a psychotic mass murderer and then becoming the confident Jedi warrior that we see in Return of the Jedi. I think that is an interesting character journey that we just kind of skip in the movies, and I am very interested in seeing how Luke goes on that journey. This book doesn't really cover that journey, and I don't know if they're actually going to get to cover it. I know I read the Kieran Gillen Darth Vader series that was set in between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, and that series, I was enjoying it at the beginning, and then it felt like they kind of rushed through everything that they were doing there at the end. So I don't know if this series is actually going to go from the very end of Empire all the way to Luke at the very beginning of Return of the Jedi, or if they're going to cancel it. For all I know, maybe they've already canceled it. I don't have my ear to the pulse of, that's not the phrase, I don't have my finger to the pulse or my ear to the keyhole of Star Wars news, so I have no idea what is going on with this series, but in theory, I do like this era of Star Wars and the idea of showing us what happened in between Empire and Luke finding out what he found out and how we get to Return of the Jedi. So the first half of this book actually kind of feels like the Lando Calrissian show, with Luke and Leia kind of on the back burner. And then the second half of the book focuses a little bit more heavily on Luke. Unfortunately, Leia doesn't have a whole lot to do here. She does not trust Lando. That's another thing that when you watch the movies, they don't trust Lando when he tries to save them while they're in Cloud City. And then he helps save Luke, and then the next thing you know, Luke is getting a new hand, and then Lando is with Chewie on the Falcon, and Luke says, okay, we'll rendezvous with you later, we're going to go save Han. And then at the beginning of Return of the Jedi, they save Han, and all is forgiven. With this, they don't forget that it's because of Lando that Han is in the custody of the Empire, and also the rebellion is at its weakest that it's ever been. We get a running subplot here where the rebels believe that the Empire has cracked their codes, and so if this particular rebel faction contacts another rebel faction, then the Empire will know where both of them are, and then it will go and eliminate both of them. And so we get something kind of sort of like the end of The Last Jedi, where Lando says, all 6 of us here, this might be the rebellion. And so we get to see Leia kind of at her lowest point here. I mean, if you don't count her loved one getting frozen in carbonite and she may never see him again. But but we don't really get to see Leia do a whole lot. There is one point where Leia, Lando, and Luke go back to Cloud City. Luke wants to try and find his lightsaber that he lost. Lando, it turns out, wants to free Lobot from the Empire's clutches, and Leia wants to try to figure out how to unfree someone in Carbonite. And so they do that, and Lando, you kind of get to see him start his journey of being someone who basically just looks out for himself, and he's just a huckster who will just kind of play the cards that he's dealt. At one point, he's very nearly about to be killed by Jabba the Hutt because he tells Leia, I'm going to go to Jabba and I'm going to see if Jabba already has Han, and then when he's there, he tells Jabba, I can give you information that the rebellion has. And we don't know if he's just saying that just to save his own skin, or if he's actually thinking about betraying the rebellion if it means that he might could get Cloud City back for himself later on. But then, after they go to Cloud City, and then he frees Lobot, and even then, you don't get the feeling that he's freeing Lobot because Lobot is his BFF. He's doing it because he owes Lobot a debt, and I have to pay this debt, and that is more important than saving a lifelong friend. But then, after they save Lobot, then several of the inhabitants of Cloud City, who were also frozen in Carbonite, they go and they say, thank you, Lando Calrissian. You brought the rebellion here and saved us. You are our hero. And you kind of get this feeling that Lando, for the first time, is thinking, oh, I could actually be part of the rebellion. I don't have to just be looking after myself and trying to regain what was stolen from me. And so that's kind of cool. And it is a little weird that Lando feels like the protagonist of this book for the first half of it, with Luke and Leia kind of on the back burner. And we do get to see Luke. He kind of becomes more important as the book goes on. For the first few issues, he's kind of not sure if he can trust the Force anymore. He's trying to communicate with Obi-Wan's ghost, and he can't get a response. He's trying to communicate with Yoda. He can't get a response. He's not sure if he even wants to be a Jedi anymore. This is what he's wanted since he met Obi-Wan in A New Hope, but now that he knows that Obi-Wan and Yoda were both lying to him, and his father, who was a Jedi, became Darth Vader, he's not really sure if that's the path he wants to go down. And then, after his failure to get his lightsaber, or Anakin's lightsaber at Cloud City, he gets a vision of another Jedi giving him a lightsaber, and then we get to see him go down that path. And this is a good beginning to all the ground that wasn't covered in between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. And like I said, that is an era in Star Wars that I am more interested in than what's in between A New Hope and Empire, but I don't know if this book is going to continue to mine that gold field of story possibilities, or if they're going to end the series abruptly, or if they're going to go in a direction that's like, this is a little weird. I kind of thought you were going to show Luke becoming a more confident Jedi warrior. I really have no idea. And I know there are like 3 or 4 Star Wars books that were coming out around this time. There was a crossover at one point with all of them that was happening. I'm assuming they were all happening right at the same time. So I have no idea if all of that is kind of supposed to be read all at once, and you're supposed to kind of get a larger picture of what was going on in this time, or if you can just read like this series and enjoy it for what it is. I know with the stuff in between A New Hope and Empire, I enjoyed the Darth Vader series much more than the Star Wars series. So I'm not sure if I need to go and read those other books. And one thing I have noticed that was purely accidental, with all the Star Wars books that I have been looking at lately, that I checked these out from my library, I guess I should say that, they're all kind of sort of connected with each other, and I did not know that. In The Rise of Kylo Ren, Lord Snoke is on this planet with a whole lot of trees, but there's like a lot of these like robot cyborg looking rings around the planet, and that planet, or Snoke mentioned something that happened on that planet a long time ago, and then I read the High Republic graphic novel, and most of that story is set on that planet. They reference something that happens with the High Republic graphic novel in the Rise of Kylo Ren book. And then in this book, at one point, Leia and another rebellion higher-up, they are talking about this space station that was built during the days of the High Republic that was meant to be a beacon to people in the Outer Rim. And that was in the High Republic graphic novel. So I find that kind of interesting, that all these books that I'm diving into, that they're all set in different eras of Star Wars history, but they're all kind of connected with each other and referencing each other. And I thought that was kind of fun. But also, if you only read this, or if you only read The Rise of Kylo Ren, you're not going to feel like you're super confused. I mean, you'll be confused if you're reading The Rise of Kylo Ren, but for different reasons. But you're not going to feel like you're missing out if you don't read the High Republic graphic novel. But I thought that was kind of cool how they're referencing each other. So those are my thoughts on Star Wars: The Destiny Path. I hope you guys like this review, and I will be back later in this week with some more videos. In the meantime, have a great rest of the day. Catch you later.